What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast. Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast with myself, and of course, the brains and bones situation, my man, Coach Sander, in the building, who's all the way down in
Baltimore, having big fun.
I was looking on the wrong spot on the soundboard. He's all the way down in Baltimore having big fun. It is a Check Swing Podcast. It is 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. We are live. And that's how you can tell we're live, because I always mess something up in the beginning of the show. So, there's no time to edit or make it work. But we got a lot. Coach Sander put together a lot of stuff for y'all today. Not even sure if we're going to be able to get to it all, but there's a lot to go over. There's even some stuff he didn't put in there that we might touch on. So we'll have to see. But before we get into all that, of course, let's get to the particulars. All right, let's do this. Let me give y'all this right here. If you want to call us with your thoughts and your opinions, you can hit us up at 727-731-8267. Of course, you can follow us on Instagram and all that good stuff at Check Swing Podcast on Instagram. Of course, you can text us on our 24-hour text line any time of the day, night, even if we're not on the air. You can hit us on the text line at 484-606-6061. And with that being said, of course, you can always hit us up in the comments during the show, and we'll put your comment on air. Now, with all that being said, let me, y'all know how I like to start my shows. I like to start the shows by asking my people how they been. So, Miguel.
Sir.
How you been?
I've been good. This arthritis is killing my knees. However, I am definitely due for my quarterly injection. I think in like the next 2 weeks or so. So I should be dancing, prancing, and sprinting in no time.
Okay. Are you going to show us on the show? You're dancing and prancing and sprinting?
No, I'll only show that to my girlfriend.
Gotcha. Well, y'all can keep that betwixt y'all. We don't need any parts of that. Then, if
you don't need any information on the moist hugs.
You know what? Yeah, you were supposed to give us some information on that. You don't know what he's talking about. He's referring to the 10-7 show. One of his comments on Sunday on the 10-7 show. Referred to a moist hug, and we were kind of baffled. We were kind of dumbfounded by what a moist hug is, but this is not that show. But we might talk about a relationship that you may have heard of. We might talk about a little bit of a relationship or maybe a lack thereof. We're not really sure. But I'm looking at Miguel's name and his tag under his name, and yeah, that arthritis. And you said the Phillies are Phillying, and I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. Were they no runs in the last 20 innings?
No runs in the last 20 innings. I think they lost 5-0, 6-0, and it's the worst 2-game defeats in like 20 or 30 years back to back. And we've had a lot of bad teams, but it's been decades since they've been this putrid.
This is what I don't understand about this team is why can't a team with this type of prowess I know a few years ago they were saying the Phillies are the best team, best lineup on paper. They have yet to prove that in my book. Why can they not manufacture runs? I don't. Is it that they're just swinging for the fences all the time, or why can they not manufacture runs? I don't get it.
I think some of it is part of the issue with analytical hitting is that sometimes you're actually guessing. You're actually guessing the pitch that's coming instead of bearing down and having changing your approach from 0-1 to the 2-strike approach. And you and I know that we have to change approaches based on the situation, and I don't think they do that enough. At least not in the beginning. And I say that because like we've seen they're capable of doing it. You know what I mean? They're definitely capable of doing it. They're definitely capable of hitting in a small ball type of fashion. Even Harper has done it. You know, he's hit against the shift. He's bunted against the shift. They all know how to do it. It's just they're I think they all press at the same time, and I think they're all trying to guess their way into a positive situation, and it's getting frustrating.
I don't know. I think at that level, the professional level, a lot of them are guessing anyway. Because a lot of times you can't see that ball, right? You're looking at the shoulder, the shoulder. What is it? You're looking at how the shoulders are when of the pitcher when when they are delivering the pitch. You're kind of taking into account the count that you have against you and all like that. The routines of the pitcher, the tendencies of the pitcher. Because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, 90, 100 miles an hour. We've seen people hit home runs on that, but you can't really see that. You know, it's not like looking at something that's 70 for us. You know, um, but this team has. I mean, they just have proven, and there's a lot of season left. Like I said, told the caller last week, the leaves aren't even on all the trees yet. But this is a consistent pattern with this team where they cannot manufacture runs consistently. And when I say consistently, I mean not 2 weeks here and then 3 weeks later and then 2 weeks after that. I mean consistently on a nightly basis, win or lose, manufacturing runs. And it's frustrating as a fan. And I get I'm understanding why Philadelphia Phillies fans will say wake me up in October. I get it. I mean, it's at the same time, Phillies fans, you got to enjoy the ride. Only one team ends up as champion at the end of the year. And we all know, we already are well aware that it's not always going to be you. You got to enjoy the season. It's just hard to do so when your team hasn't scored a run in 20 plus innings. With that being said, we had some sad news out of the MLB world. Um, First base coach for the Phillies, but former player um, and former first base coach of the Phillies, like I said, Davey Lopes passed away today. Um, One of the best first base coaches, and they say he's one of the best first base coaches. And I thought about it, and I was just thinking like, what makes a first base coach great? You know what I mean? Like people, like he's hired to be a first base coach, he's hired to do something, and then he becomes a first base coach. But it's like, what makes them great? What makes them great? I'm not questioning his prowess. I'm just kind of interested in knowing what makes a first base coach great. You can kind of see more of a third base coach them being called great and how their decision making on that corner because it leads to scores or not scoring. At least the scores are outs a lot of times. Same thing that happened at first base, but third base is more critical. But he always had that stopwatch with him. Always had that stopwatch with him, time in the delivery from the pitcher to the plate, um, and even sometimes from the pitcher to the plate to the second base when they throw it down. But Davey Lopes, man, rest in peace. Yeah, you got anything you want to say, Miguel, before we move on?
No, I was for I don't know why, but when the Phillies hired him onto the coaching staff, I think he was on the staff from 2007 to 2010. I was excited because like former Dodger, he was a Philly killer, him and Dusty Baker, and then he was really instrumental in the success rate, the stolen base success rate. With Jason Worth and Victorino and Jimmy Rollins and stuff like that. So he was definitely an integral part. Um, so may he rest in power and went out on top. I mean, he back to the Dodgers organization and left with two world championships. So a great player
Oh,
from.
was he still with them? He was with them over
He
the
was in
past
the
couple.
organization. I don't believe as a coach. I think I saw him on the bench a few times in uniform, but I don't know if that meant he was a coach. But he was definitely back. He was definitely back with the organization. So but great player. Was part of one of the best infields in baseball history in the 70s and 80s with the Dodgers. I think it was Steve Garvey, Davey Lopes, Bill Russell, and Ron Say. So it was just a all around Gold Glove infield, and great player, great coach, and from all accounts, great person.
There you go. Rest in peace, Davey Lopes. Um, Today is also an anniversary. You wanna talk about this one? You wanna take the lead on this one?
Sure. So today marks the 52nd anniversary of Henry Aaron breaking the all-time home run record in 1974. He broke the ultimate record that nobody thought could be broken. In 1974, he had home run number 715, surpassing the great Bambino Babe Ruth in the deep south of Hotlanta, Georgia. Um, and a trivia question is all it comes up from this: who was the first person to greet him and shake his hand in celebration?
That guy right there on the left,
Incorrect. He was
down at the bottom of the screen.
the two white guys. They were the second and the third, but not the first.
Was it the first baseman?
Nope.
I have no idea.
It was the second baseman, Davey Lopes.
Ah, okay.
So he
How
was the
about
first
that?
person to greet him, and then Bill Russell. Actually, the two white guys on the field um, were the third and fourth. And when Henry Aaron tells the story, he actually thought he was going to be killed because he had received so many death threats. He was threatened to be lynched. His family was threatened to be murdered at the stadium. And remember, this is the deep South in the early to mid 70s. Um,
Yeah.
and it was just so bad. He was so relieved to get the home run record, and he was always famous as saying that he didn't want people to forget Babe Ruth. He just didn't want people to forget about him. He just want people to remember him.
And
Um,
I think both those things have been accomplished.
right, and shortly after this, he left Atlanta and went to Milwaukee. So his last 2 years were actually spent in Milwaukee, but he wanted to get the hell out of Atlanta.
I
So
correct me if I'm wrong. He never really wanted to go to Atlanta, right?
no, so remember, Atlanta. I mean, the Braves started in Milwaukee,
Right.
and then they moved to Atlanta. I want to say in like 66, 1966. And he's like, I hate it here. You know what I mean? But he was a model of consistency. Never hit over 45 home runs in a season ever, but he did it so consistently. I think he has the all-time record for walks. Um, I think he was on a disabled list once in a 20-year career. So he was just a model of consistency. Um, you know, never flamboyant. Stuff like that. So
I'll tell you what, Miguel. This is actually the first time I never as many times as I've seen the clip of this home run and him running around the bases. I never knew it was against the Dodgers.
mhm.
Never knew that. That's the
Yeah,
first time I actually took notice of that.
and the pitcher was a lefty named Al Downing who was from Pennsylvania. I think he was actually from Philly, born and raised,
Hmm,
but I know he's from Pennsylvania. I don't remember which part, but
gotcha. And rest in peace to Hank Aaron too. I mean, he died a while ago, but we're talking about him, so might as well show him some love, right?
absolutely.
Now another thing, and another thing. Ozzie Guillen. You just talking about him before the show. Ozzie Guillen. You want to introduce this one too?
So we're gonna show a video, and probably the most classiest way to do this is the way that they did this. But Ozzie Guillen is, I believe he's a announcer, or he's a, I was about to say televangelist. Um, he's a sports
Commentary and analyst.
There you go, commentary analyst for the White Sox and on some other MLB Network stuff. But before a game, the Chicago White Sox, in a very classy way, made this announcement.
I don't know what this is about. I have been asked to read what is in this envelope right here. Without further ado, we're going to get right to it.
Okay.
Can you read?
If it's in English, I can read it.
Okay, because I can read English, Spanish, or any language.
Okay. I don't know what this is.
Now.
Well, we don't know what it is either. We're in suspense here.
The Chicago White Sox announce today that 2005 World Series winning manager Ozzie Guillen will be honored on Saturday, August 8th.
I know the bobblehead.
With a special ceremony retiring his number 13 uniform.
No way.
The shortstop, who played for 13 seasons with the White Sox, will be the 13th player in franchise history to have his number retired and first manager.
Oh, that is amazing.
Mr. Ozzie Guillen, your legacy will be forever etched.
Oh, my God. Where's my wife?
He's right here. Beavis. Oh, my God. Ozzie. The whole crowd here is chanting Ozzie's name. Yes.
Wow.
Ozzie.
I don't know how to react, how to say thank you to the White Sox organization, and they made these people.
Incredible.
Wow. What I can say? After when this happened?
Make sure you're here.
No, August 8th. I can die in August 9 now.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations to Ozzie again. Did that just happen tonight?
It happened, I want to say, over the weekend.
Over the weekend, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him, man. Ozzie again always reminded me of, and RDOT can probably verify. He always reminded me of a college coach I had. His name is Bobby Rodriguez. We called him B-Rod. Built the same. They looked the same. Spoke the same. I mean, it just and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him, and he just always reminded me of him. And really, he probably should still be the coach at Maryland Eastern Shore, but that's neither here nor there. Speaking of Maryland Eastern Shore, where did I put the thing? Speaking of Maryland Eastern Shore, where's my? There you go. Yep, B-Rod, absolutely.
A strike, and it is overturned. That's one of the biggest misses I've seen so far.
Are you playing something over there?
Sorry.
Live show, people. Live show.
Sorry.
I'm trying to find my share thing here. Real quick, I just want to put this out there real quick. If I can, if I may. I'm trying to get this doggone advertisement off of here. I don't like this advertisement, but it's huge and I can't do anything. I can't get it off.
Sorry.
But I have to give a shout out to the Bethune-Cookman University. They upset LSU, number 24 LSU, 10-7. And 10-7. How about that? And the only reason I'm actually like kind of saying this is because Bethune-Cookman used to be in the MEAC conference, which was the conference that I used to compete when I was with the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and they dominated the conference at the time. At the time that I was there, I don't know how many in a row, how many conference championships they won in a row. Then they started losing some. They lost to Norfolk, they lost to FAMU, and all like that. And then they ended up changing athletic conferences, going over to the SWAC. along with FAMU. Everybody was leaving the MEAC for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into that, but congratulations to them. It was first time. I think this was their first defeat of a ranked team since 2017, I believe. So
Mm.
it's been almost 10 years. So shout out to them. And I always felt like if there is a sport where you could really see an upset happening, I always felt like it was baseball. All you gotta do is be pretty good for a day. You know what I mean? All you gotta do is be pretty good for a day to pull the upset in baseball. And when they say any given Sunday in football, it's really any given day in baseball. Like if you don't bring your A game, you could lose. Shout out to them. They did their thing, and I'm going to take this down because I'm done giving them love. I'm done showing them love. Shout out to them. All right. So where are we now? Where are we in the nose now, Miguel?
We are. Can you see my highlight?
I absolutely can. Jeffrey Lurie explains the exploratory process for the next Eagles stadium. Talk to me, Miguel. What is this about? I know they were talking about building another stadium, possibly a dome and all like that. What's the exploratory process?
So the way Jeffrey Lurie explains it, they're trying to just maximize fan amenities, so they say. But the bottom line is the current lease for Lincoln Financial ends in 2032. So of course, it seems like whenever stadiums kind of get to that magic date of end of lease, they start exploring whether they want to renew the lease or not. So usually in that process, you explore, okay, where we is the current location current? Is it feasible? Can we expand? Do we need more money from the city or the state? Do we need to purchase more property? What all that stuff. But he pretty much said it is a long process, and they're researching possibilities of either expansion or you know he didn't say relocation. He didn't use the term relocation, but he just pretty much said, maximizing the fan experience. There was
And by
another,
relocation, you're not referring to moving
not
to another
leaving,
city. You're referring to just having the stadium in a different place.
right? And I remember, I think there was a story that we had briefly talked about where somebody had brought up the idea of the old Franklin Mills or the Philadelphia Mills, whatever the bleep they call it now. Um, Being an ideal site because of its size, and you already have the parking, you already have the transportation, so it kind of being an ideal site. And the trend is most stadiums being built are kind of being built in away from the outskirts of the city. Like San Francisco, the 49ers built really in Santa Clara. The Atlanta Braves are in a suburb of Cobbs County, Georgia, which is literally like maybe 10 miles outside of Atlanta. So,
FedEx,
but
FedEx Field, if that's still what it's called in DC, is in Landover.
right. But so, like, even with that, they're actually going back to their original stadium,
Right.
and that's being rebuilt. That's going to be the Trump Dome or the Trump Head Dome, whatever the sex assault. But the other interesting thing is the possibility of Philadelphia becoming a host site for future Super Bowls. So, which could be, and so there was a I guess a retort article, and I can't remember who wrote the article. A couple of days later, but the basic premise of the piece is why do the Eagles even need a new stadium?
Mhm. Right.
Because you and I have both been there. I've been there multiple times in the early 2000s when it opened, and I've been there maybe like once or twice in the last 10 years. It's a good stadium to me. You know what I mean?
Not a bad seat in the house.
Not a bad seat in the house. It's built for football. They host events. They hosted World Cup events. They have college teams rent out their facility. They have concerts there. So I think they're trying. They also mentioned Jeffrey Lurie mentioned two venues. I want to say one in Barcelona and one there were two stadiums he was referring to outside of this hemisphere where they've been able to um, I think there's one venue where they actually have a retractable dome, but the tiles like fold in and then they expand out almost like a shower curtain and they come back in. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
But something like that. But he, ideally he doesn't want to leave any stone unturned. He's looking at the stadiums in Nashville, Buffalo, and the new in Cleveland, and kind of taking bits and pieces from them. It's Barcelona and Madrid,
Oh, the Real Madrid Stadium.
the Real Madrid stadium, right? So those are the stadiums that he was looking at. Because and plus the stadium, I mean, it came out 2003 is when the link opened. So we're only talking about 24 years, and usually the average lifespan of a stadium is about 30, 40 years. But with house like Camden Yards was built in 92 and they just renewed the lease for 30 years. So they're modernizing it to, some people, are, you know, not too keen on the updates because it takes away some of the old things and you know
Don't mess with people's nostalgia.
yeah, I think that's what it is ultimately, but I do agree with if some things need to be updated you just need to update it, you know what I mean. But
One thing,
Camden, good.
no, go ahead, finish your statement.
No, but Camden Yards is one of those, like, it has a feel to it, and I think, like, I've been to Camden Yards and I've been to the Nationals Park, and although Nationals Park has all the latest amenities and it's new and it's right by the metro, I don't like it. It's like it feels too artificial to me. Whereas Camden Yards, it feels more real, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's the brick
Oh,
facade.
what feels artificial to you? I thought you were talking about Camden. What feels artificial to you?
The Nationals Park,
National. Okay, that's right
Washington
on the
Nationals
highway,
in
right
DC.
next to the highway.
Well, yeah, and you can, and it's convenient because I can drive down to New Carrollton train station, take the metro straight in. I can't remember the stop, but you basically walk up, and to the left, you're in left field, and then you just walk into the entrance, and you're in the stadium. So it's very convenient. And Camden Yards is convenient too because I do the park and ride the light rail, and it has its own, um, light rail stop. But right now they with the new lease they purchased the property around Camden Yards, and I think they rezoned it. So they're starting to add, of course, the FanDuel type areas. They're doing it really big at M&T Stadium for the Ravens.
I
Um,
feel like I feel like if the Eagles get approved to build a new stadium, it'll probably be a dome. I think they want it to be a. I think ownership wants it to be a dome because I think that they want to host Super Bowls, other concerts, Final Fours, because Final Fours are played in football stadiums now.
yeah,
WrestleManias, which the Link hosted a WrestleMania a couple years. It was last year. It was last year, a couple years ago.
yeah, last year, the year before, and now WrestleMania is a 3-day event, isn't it?
I don't. I know it's at least two. I know it's at least two. I'm not sure if it's three now, but I know it's at least two. Um, I mean, you could be right. I don't pay as
I
much
don't remember.
attention as I used to, but and I know people running the city of Philadelphia. They about that money, bringing that money into the city. So, but my question would be, and it's not necessarily a question for you. My question would be if the Eagles were to move out of the link and built a dome stadium, and let's say the link stayed, let's say they built a stadium somewhere else, would the link still be used for things, or would they knock it down and do something else with it? Like I'm not really sure. You all right over there, Miguel?
Yeah, am I back? Am I on? Mic
You're
check.
on. You're on.
Shalom. Okay.
You're on.
I'm sorry.
Um,
What was the question?
it wasn't really a question for you to answer. It was just what would happen with the link? What would happen with that area if the Eagles were to move into a dome or somewhere? Let's say they built it at Philadelphia Mills site. What would happen with the link? I mean, high school football games, college football games, for sure, college football games.
I mean, if I were Temple, I would try to purchase it. Even though I don't like the location of it for Temple, they should build on their campus, but that's neither here nor there.
Man, Temple got their own problems going.
Yeah,
going
so I've heard.
on.
But I don't see why it couldn't be because since isn't the Sixers playing the new facility for the Sixers going to be in the Navy Yard,
I
or is it
believe so.
still?
I believe
So
so.
my thing, like, why not rezone it? I don't know, as part of the Navy Yard, and make it into a big to do or whatever. Or you
Yeah,
could scale it down and make it a smaller concert venue, but
you could do that, or build it. I guess it's called the dome. There, like they have in Las Vegas. The Sphere. That's what they call
the
it, the Sphere.
sphere.
Yeah. So how about this? Breaking news from R. Dot: the Indianapolis Clowns have just signed Monet Davis. I didn't know. I didn't know those teams like sign people. I mean, they're the newest banana ball team.
Hmm.
Or are they the newest banana ball team? But they are part of the banana ball league, and it's an
Hmm.
homage to the Negro League team. Um, but isn't Monet Davis supposed to be playing in the women's league this year?
It was advertised that she was one of the members of it. So yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work out.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, it could be like how the Negro leagues was run back in the day when people would play for different teams just to market and make money and stuff like that. We don't know. We'll have to check that out. We'll have to keep our eye on that. See how that goes down. I was actually watching the Indianapolis Clowns play um, the Savannah Bananas over the weekend, maybe last week, sometime maybe. I still like banana ball is cool. I like it.
Yeah,
I like what they're doing. It's fun. It's not. It's a baseball type game, but it's not baseball, and it's fun to watch. It's like watch. I mean, the Indianapolis Clowns were like the original Harlem Globetrotter or the first baseball Harlem Globetrotters, and now Savannah Ball or Banana Ball is Harlem Globetrotter baseball style or baseball Harlem Globetrotter style, however you want to look at it. I think it's cool. I don't know how to do it. I don't even want to know it because I feel like if I tried to do it, which I never would, I would snap my knees. But it's crazy how when you watch the Savannah Bananas, there's a person that plays on stilts
yeah, that's
and they run. They
yeah,
run on them stilts. Oh my god! And last thing about Banana Ball, I think it's cool that they have the crowd involved with it. Like somebody hits a foul ball and the fan catches it, it's an out.
it's an out. Yeah, like I do
Pretty
like
cool.
that. That actually is pretty cool.
That's pretty
But
cool. Make you a part of the game
but dude, do you see how much money this thing is making? Everywhere they go, they're sold out for the
everywhere.
multiple sold
Yeah.
out every single game.
They were in Philly last year. I thought about going, but I didn't. I don't remember why I decided like I wasn't even gonna try it anymore. But it maybe one day.
I,
I'm not.
I
I'm not. I'm not pressed, but maybe one day.
I got to admit, my favorite part of it is when, and I can't remember what the scenario is, but sometimes the umpire and the player have to do a dance off. It's just funny to me seeing an umpire in umpire's gear with the home plate umpire with the mask and everything, like doing dance to drop it like it's hot, and it's just like what is going on here?
So let's stick with the Eagles, right? Let's stick with the Eagles here, and let's talk about Saquon. Saquon getting up there in running back years, getting up there.
I hate that. He's
Um,
29.
29 years old, which is I hate to say it's old for a running back
I hate that.
nowadays.
Yeah, I
Nowadays,
hate that.
um, people say last year he took a step back. I don't necessarily believe he took a step back last year. I believe that the offensive line took a step back last year because, good Lord, as soon as Saquon was getting the ball in the backfield, there was somebody right there waiting to tackle him
Right.
almost every time.
And anybody that knows sports, like that's sports 101. When you see that, like somebody blew an assignment or somebody is slow, and again, when you don't re-sign Mekhi Becton as one of your surprise Pro Bowl esque guards, and you let him go, and you replace him with somebody that's half of that, you know what I mean? It's hard to scheme against,
And Mekhi Becton had since was released from the Chargers too,
Yeah, I don't know if it would work though since we lost our
since Stoutland's gone.
since that one's gone. But
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are going to have the Eagles are probably going to look very different this year. Um, and you have here that in Eagles history, 13 running backs have rushed for at least 1,200 yards, and the oldest was Brian Westbrook, who was 28 when he ran for 1333 in 2007. So what you're saying is there's a chance. I mean, shoot, 2 years ago, the year before last, he could have broke the all-time rushing record. He just kind of either he or the team decided he wasn't going to do it, but he would have done it. You also said that in NFL history there have been 356 seasons. Say what? Let me just read it. Let me just read it. In NFL history, there have been 356 seasons of 1,200 rushing yards, and 311 of them were by backs 28 or younger. Only 29 different running backs have rushed for 1,200 yards after turning 29, including Hall of Famers like Emmitt Smith, who was running behind probably one of the best offensive lines ever. You always
you
got to
know,
mention. Always got to mention that. Walter Payton, one of the greatest of all time. Jim Brown, one of the greatest of all time. Curtis Martin, one of the best that's ever done it. Saquon's 1,140 yards last year. I didn't even know he had 1,000 yards last year. Were actually the third most in Eagles history by a running back 28 or older, behind Westbrook in 2007 and Steve Van Buren in 1949 when he ran for 1,146 yards at the age of 29. A lot different game back then too.
and they ran on the first two downs almost exclusively. So
Yeah, yeah, they did a lot of running back then. So your thoughts, Miguel? Is Saquon? Are the Eagles drafting a running back early in the draft this year?
I mean, I kind of would. I don't see why they would not. It just makes sense. Um,
You don't think Bigsby is the heir apparent?
I mean, we're definitely we got to see more of them, and I don't think we saw enough of them last year. I liked what I saw in the limited spots he was in. But I definitely think he would. He's your big back. Gives you the hard yards.
Big back. I'm sorry.
eh, so, but I think if anybody could do it, it's Saquon. Um, I was just hoping that like because of how, and I hate to say how soft the league has gotten, but you know they don't take the same. When I look at the names of like Walter Payton and Jim Brown and even Curtis Martin, like they don't take the same hits that current running backs do. I don't think. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping for at least another like maybe 2 years from Saquon to be at this level before he kind of really starts to lose a step.
Let's
But
not forget that he took a lot of hits as a Giant because their offensive line was never really good while he was there.
which is true. But then you have the running back here in Baltimore, Derrick Henry, who minus the occasional unusual fumble, um, is kind of matching that status. You know what I
Why
mean?
does it feel like Derrick Henry's like 36 years old?
Because he looks like he's 36 years old.
mean, he's just running over people except for Cooper DeJean, left and right. Cooper DeJean wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. I hope for Eagles' sake that Saquon can, as you said, give us another couple years. It's probably time to look for that running back, but of course, it's hard to find that franchise running back later on in the draft. Like a lot of times they come early in the draft, and Eagles won't be drafting early in the draft outside of a trade for a long time, probably. And I don't even know what running backs are coming through the pipeline, coming out of college in the next few years that could fill that void. Eagles. When you think about it, Eagles really Brian Westbrook, Deuce Staley, maybe. Like how many franchise running backs have the Eagles drafted when you think about it? I mean, Brian Westbrook was one. Deuce had a few years. But outside, I can't really think. Like, was my man in the '80s? Wilbert Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going back. That's going way back.
Oh, you weren't a fan of the great Heath Sherman?
I forgot. I forgot about Heath Sherman. But I mean, the Eagles weren't that good then. Those years were forgettable.
Yeah, they
Charlie
had
Garner.
Charlie Garner. Yeah.
Charlie Garner was tough, but the Eagles weren't good at that time. They were barely good. That was like the Ray Rhodes days, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah,
I think Corral Buckhalter could have been good, but it just never really.
remember Carell Buckhalter, I think, tore both ACLs and came back from both. I think tore an Achilles, like he tore everything and came back, and I think the one full season he had, I think he rushed for like 600 or 700 yards, and it was promising, and then he got hurt again. So it was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. So yeah, the Eagles. What's the word I'm looking for? They're I can't think of the word, but they're just not famous for drafting the best running back. They're really almost never in a position to get the best running back. I mean, remember they drafted Ryan Moats.
Damn.
That. And everybody liked Ryan Moats for some reason. Like they just it was like a weird thing that it was like the underdog thing. They just liked him because he was the underdog, but it just never really panned out.
Touche.
They don't do the greatest job of drafting wide receivers either.
Well, they do a hell of a job of getting him in free agency or trading for him.
Yeah. Shout
The,
out to Howard.
the one thing I will say, they've drafted well in the secondary. The defensive line the last couple years, the last decade, I'd say they've drafted really well.
And offensive line, they've drafted really well.
And I'm gonna say that when they give a damn about the linebacker position, they draft well. I think I think throughout the entire Andy Reid era, towards the end of it, they didn't give a damn about linebackers. And henceforth, once you did give a damn about linebackers, now we're in the Super Bowl and we're winning Super Bowl. So it's like,
well, I felt like the you said the entire Andy Reid era. I thought we had some pretty good linebackers during that era.
I mean, other than
Yeah, we
Jeremiah,
had Jeremiah Trotter, who was okay, went away, came back, and really found himself.
right?
Ike Reese was a hell of a backup. That was a starter on a lot of other teams. Never really great, but he was formidable. I'm
Right.
trying to think of some of the other. I'm blanking on some of the other linebackers we
Well,
had.
Trent Cole started as a linebacker, but then he wound up going to end.
Yeah,
Um, Stuart Bradley wasn't much.
no.
Uh,
Wasn't Mike Mamula a linebacker?
Mike Mamula was a lot of things.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's leave it alone. Let's leave it alone. The title of this episode of the show are the Eagles more dramatic than the Cowboys, and I'm gonna have to say, like right now, like the last couple of years, I'm gonna have to say the Eagles have been way more dramatic than the Cowboys. I'm embarrassed to say that they've been way more, and it almost feels. And I'm kind of playing off of your lead here. It almost feels calculated. It almost feels like they want to be in the headlines.
You remember what I said, and I said it in our chat earlier today. I really think that a lot of the stuff that's going on, the conjecture, the stuff on social media, I think it reeks of trolling. You know what I mean? Like how somebody would troll somebody to try to like throw the fish in the line and then try to get somebody to catch the bait. And it's like
Mm.
what I want to get across to people is it's not the Philly fans that are giving these teams a hard time. It's the media. I think the media is looking at anybody that says, "Oh, Philly fans drive superstars out of town." Again, I don't believe that it's the fans. I believe it's the media because of the blatant lies, or everybody that comes up with something like Jalen Hurts sleeping with some AJ Brown's girl, whatever, and they say a source tells me, and it's like they're hiding behind sources that in most cases probably don't exist, and most of these stories go away after a while. So
Here's allow me to push back a little bit, because I really want you to be right about this. Um, but I don't think you are. I want you to be right, but I don't think you are, because if AJ is trolling, if guys are trolling, and if these things are lies, they have an opportunity to refute these things, and it never happens.
but again, if you're trolling,
Never happens. It never happens.
why would you refute it? It keeps everything going.
Okay, so let me give you an example of something that happened recently, and you might be aware of it. I don't know. I know you're in Baltimore. You're in
Baltimore, having big fun.
Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie was being interviewed. It was a press conference, something um, last week, and the question came up about Jalen's contract.
I saw
Okay,
that story. I read that story.
and Jeffrey Lurie Jeffrey Lurie thought they were talking about Jalen Carter, and he really didn't give that glowing. He was like, "Yeah, I thought Jalen had a good season." Blah blah. It was very, you know what I mean, very. But then when the reporter was like, "Yeah, we're talking about Jalen Hurts," I love Jalen. Blah blah. Blah. It was glowing.
Mhm.
It was glowing. Now, as a member of the media, what are you supposed to do with that? Like you. I mean, it was obvious that the reactions were different when they were talking about different players, two different Jalen's. It was obvious. As a media member, what are you supposed to do with that? Now,
Well,
if you're a radio host, you just have to spec. It's all speculation. Now, you say the media drives a lot of these things. A lot of time, like, and a lot of times, there's the articles and stuff like that. But a lot of times, these radio people, TV people are going off of these articles, and they're speculating off of these articles a lot of times. And then the people would run with that, and now they want to talk about it all the time. What is the media supposed to do with stuff like that?
well, I mean, I get that in that case because it's like a big, oopsie. But at the same time, is he wrong? Like, is he wrong to not be as glowing about Jalen Carter because
No,
of he didn't have a good season. He didn't have a great season. The penalties are annoying. He was out of shape. Now there's video. I saw a video of him. Apparently, he's doing what Jordan Davis is doing, getting stronger and faster
are
as
they,
a defensive lineman.
are they working out together, or are they just doing similar workout?
I just saw a glimpse of it, but I just know that like all of a sudden he has a six pack instead of a keg. So that's progress. You know what I mean? So, but I saw it real quick and it
No,
just
I don't know, Miguel. I don't know. I kind of want my interior linemen to have a keg. I kind of want them to have a keg. I mean, being in shape and stuff, that's good. I kind of want them to have a keg, though.
but you saw Jordan Davis last year.
Yeah, That's all. Yeah,
much
that was.
better. And
Yeah.
he was already big and fast, and now he was leaner, but now he's faster and now he's stronger.
Mhm.
Between the blocked field goals. I mean, the against the Rams when he almost single handedly blocked 2 field goals. It's like that stuff.
But
Um,
Jalen blocked one of those.
well, yeah, you're right. You're right. Jalen did block one of those, but that was about it for the next 6 weeks.
I
Um,
wanna I wanna put this comment up in there real quick. The NCAA is proposing a hard age based rule 5 years of eligibility starting from your 19th birthday or high school graduation, whichever comes first. That's interesting. Um, I mean, we're not going to get into it now, but I got questions. So I mean, is so now you're talking about 5 years of eligibility as
I,
opposed to four,
That's
and
all. That's all. To me, that's all. That's all great and fine. But I'm wondering if they're doing that for the players that want to play like JUCO
I
before
would
that.
think so. That would be my guess.
Because I like
Because
the idea of the fact that you playing JUCO and then you don't lose those years of eligibility. I know that was a COVID thing.
Mhm.
To me, I think they should bring that back. Because I think you would get more athletes to play because some people will stop playing at JUCO and just call it a career and that'll be it. But if you say, wait a minute, I can build on my skills and then look to go to that bigger campus or go to University of Maryland, go to wherever, and not lose my eligibility, why wouldn't you do that? You know what I
and a
mean?
lot of coaches will go that route. Like a lot of coaches, that I learned, being on the college, being on the college level, I learned that a lot of these coaches at the college level, they want college ready right away, which
Mhm.
means they're recruiting from JUCOs. They're going to the transfer portal, they're recruiting out of JUCOs as opposed to high schools. I mean, you could be a special kid coming out of high school, they'll recruit you. But if you're a role player, if you're going to play a role, they would probably want you college ready with some type of college experience as opposed to coming out of high school and then learning how to play the game at the college level.
Right.
So you gotta take that into play as well. Um, real quick, because we got to talk about the elephant in the room or the elephant at the hotel. But before we get into that, pioneering female NFL official sues league over her treatment and firing. And you have here that Robin DiLorenzo cited gender-based scrutiny, humiliation, and open hostility among the what's that word? Help me out. Indignity.
Indignities.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Among the indignities she suffered as a league official from 2022 to 2025. Tell me, what can you tell me about that?
So, she was one of the again, pioneering official. Um, she was the victim of not hazing, but there was an incident where her crew chief um, had a 1 day training camp with Mike Tomlin on the Steelers training camp, and
Mhm.
she was forced to sing in front of everybody. Um, Normal hazing thing amongst that type of group.
Rookies have to do that a lot.
Right, right.
You've seen it
But
on Hard Knocks and stuff like that.
Right, but in the following week, she reported that she was shamed, harassed, and subject to profanity-laced trash talking by her crew chief, a man who had, on multiple occasions, been recently accused of mistreating another female employee. Um, and then there were alleged training opportunities that were over her union's objection that catered to lower level college officials learning the trade, something no male official had ever been required to do. Um, so she felt like it was a male power play that served its purpose of humiliating her. shattering her confidence and pretty much signaling the end of her career. So, you know, I think we'll hear more about the specifics. That particular hazing thing, as long as it's not like, what fraternities and sororities have been up to lately. Not necessarily bad, but if there's verbal abuse going on and it caused her to, suffer some emotional trauma, then, something to be investigated. So,
I would be interested in knowing why she was fired. Like what led to her firing?
yeah,
Was
I
it
think,
because of the treatment? She says she got fired. I'll be interested to hear more about that as
right.
this story grows. Excuse me. All right, so it comes out today, maybe overnight, last night. I heard about it this morning. Um, and I kind of got to talk about it, but I kind of feel weird talking about it. To be honest with you, I mean, it's all right. Let's just dive in. New England Patriots coach Mike Vrabel was seen photographed with a reporter from the Athletic, uh, Diana Rossini, in what would seem to be flirtatious ways. Diana Rossini, who was married, Mike Vrabel. I'm not sure. I think Mike Vrabel married. I'm not really sure if he's married, but
He is.
he is married.
Mhm.
Okay,
They both are.
so I'm just gonna read what you have here because I know what I've been hearing about all day, but I'm gonna just read what you have here. Photos published by Page Six show the coach and a journalist holding hands and hugging at a Sedona resort. These photos show a completely innocent interaction, and any suggestion otherwise is laughable, Vrabel told the Post. This doesn't deserve any further response. Okay, great. Rossini has also responded the photos don't represent the group of six people who were hanging out during the day. Like most journalists in the NFL, reporters interact with sources away from stadiums and other venues. These photos are misleading and a lack and excuse me, these photos are misleading and lack essential context. Stephen Ginsburg, executive editor of The Athletic, said these were public interactions in front of many people. Diana is a premier journalist covering the NFL, and we're proud to have her at The Athletic. Now, the reason I forgot about that, Ardot. Thank you. Actually, thank you very much. I forgot about that. I do want to bring that up too. Um, the reason I I want to talk about it is because if I'm not mistaken, she's like an Eagles insider.
Mhm.
Her husband is an Eagles fan, big time Eagles fan. There's all this talk about AJ Brown being traded to the Patriots from the Eagles. Um, to me, and I'm very biased, extremely biased. To me, there's some tampering going on here. There's some tampering going on by the New England Patriots. You already know I have a dislike for the Patriots because they ruined my first ever Eagles Super Bowl. Even though we got them back, yes, we did. I don't really know what to make. I didn't see the pictures. I didn't even try to find the pictures. To be honest with you, I didn't care that
You
much to see them.
serious?
Yeah, I haven't seen them. I really because here's the thing.
You can see them by accident, bro.
Well, I've been working all day. It's been a long
Oh,
day.
it's no excuse.
Um, the thing is, like, there's such a double standard, right? There's such a double standard in the world, and when Jay Glazer had football coaches at his house. They were doing MMA, having drinks and stuff like that. Nobody really gives it a second look. But once it's a woman and a man, it's automatically, oh, what's going on here? Oh, they probably sleeping together. All this, that, and the third. When you have sources You have sources, and you and I'm not making any suggestion that Rossini is doing anything nefarious. What I'm saying is you meet your sources, you talk to your sources, you're friendly with your sources because you need them to continue to be your sources. And like I said earlier, Jay Glazer had coaches over his house. If you saw Jay Glazer and Mike Vrabel sitting next to each other having a drink at the bar, you wouldn't think nothing of it. That was probably Jay Glazer doing his job. But if you see Mina Kimes and Nick Sirianni sitting next to each other at a bar having a drink, a lot of people automatically are going to think, "Oh, what's going on there? What's going on there?" And I think I personally, I think it's unfair. Like I said, I don't know what's going on between them. They've denied any claims. Got to take it at face value. But I just think it's unfair that she gets these accusations in a sense. Now, well, here's what I will say. Let me play my own devil's advocate. Let me play my own
Talk
devil's
about
advocate.
wanting control, Jesus.
There was an incident in 20 teens. I forgot what year it was. It was before the Washington football team was called when they were still called the Washington Redskins. Where was it one of the coach's wives or one of the one or something accused her of some nefarious things as she was like an insider for that team or she was covering the team or something like that. And then the wife later on, I think took it back. Sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. Right? If you've done something one time and then you get accused of doing it again, maybe your approach needs to be different if you're not doing what they're saying you're doing. Right? If you're accused of stealing money somewhere and then you go somewhere else and money's missing, sometimes you got to change your approach.
That was my
Miguel, your,
first.
your thoughts on this?
That was my first boss at the job that you have now. Um, she was the sister of Satan. I'm sorry. So
His sister of Satan.
yeah, they hung out on the weekends. So I think that some of this some of the things that I read today, it was completely out of left field. There was one person that actually commented and said, "This is all Jalen Hurts' fault. His team is trying to discredit AJ Brown and lower his trade value and da 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 da." I was like, man, this dude can't win for losing.
Like he can't. He cannot. He gets blamed for everything. He
Yeah,
gets blamed for everything but winning the Super Bowl.
right. Because I've heard that Jalen Hurts leaked of it. Like there's all this conjecture about it. So the still images. If you look up the images, they're all alone. All of them are. There's no other people in the picture. So I'm like, well, anybody can kind of stage a shot. You know what I mean? You and I, both photographers, we know how to stage and play a shot. And then, picture says it 1,000 words unless the cameraman is lying. You know what I mean? That's what I always figure.
Right.
So I think we have to wait a little bit. Let's wait to play out a little bit. Let's see if we get some moving pictures. Now, if they're like the dude that were at the show and they're holding hands and all this other stuff, and they're both married, then
that's totally different.
right. But it's
What,
just
what,
it's just funny how like I still don't understand the Jalen Hurts hate, and now it's it's being pushed to being his fault. I'm like, what the
Here,
hell?
I'll respond to that real quick. I think the Jalen Hurts hate comes from a place of never having something, and then you have a taste. You got a taste of something, and you want more of it, but you don't like how it's being delivered to you.
So
So
you're
you want it to be. So you wanted. So the people that are hating want the delivery to be different, even though the results are good.
so narcissistic. It's so narcissistic.
So R dot found what I was talking about in 2015. Jennifer McClowan,
McClellan.
wife of then Washington GM Scott McClowan, publicly accused NFL reporter Diana Rossini of having an affair to secure inside information. That's what I was referring to
Right. So
earlier.
it goes back to your point of where there's smoke, there's fire. But again, you need to have the evidence.
Right. And when you were talking about, we need some moving video to see what's really going on. You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
You'll probably remember this. I think you might have been into it at the time. Remember when Ric Flair came to like the WWF and was messing with Elizabeth, trying to get Macho Man to get- They published these pictures in the magazine
Hey
of
woman! Hey woman!
Ric Flair and Miss Elizabeth together, but they were really pictures of like Macho Man, but they just kind of
They
swapped it out.
blurred
Or
them
whatever.
out. Yeah,
It just kind of reminded me of that.
that was a
Real
great.
quick mention: one of my favorite radio hosts was arrested for allegedly, and he was allegedly charged with assault. He's charged with assault allegedly for slapping his fiance.
First of all, he's 70. What is he doing with a fiance?
He's 70.
He's
He's not
70 years
70.
old. He's 70 years
Is he
old.
really?
He's 70 years old.
Wow, I did
And
not
look at
know.
his mugshot. He looks well. I mean, he's looked old for quite a few years, but
I mean, nobody ever looks young in their mugshot.
yeah.
Nobody ever looks young in their mugshot.
But yeah,
He's 70?
he's 70. Mike Missinelli is 70.
Wow. Mm.
I remember when he first was fired from WIP. Didn't he assault his
Producer or something like
producer?
that?
Yeah. I think
Something like
him and Eskin were going at it, and then I think in between commercial breaks, he like swung at the producer. So
I know there was something between him and Tyrone too.
yeah, I
And
read
Tyrone
about that. Yeah,
Magic. There was something, and I was actually, and the show was on TV at the time, and I was actually watching it. And whatever happened during a commercial break,
Mhm.
and then when they came back, you could see Tyrone like, yeah, yeah, and it was just like, what just happened? And then like Miss Nelly kind of apologized because he was
Mhm.
wrong. I think he was saying, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Give me Miss Nelly's job that he used to have because on the people y'all got on there now, I don't listen. Um, I know we got to keep on moving. Kirk Cousins, greatest thief of all time. What you got there? What's that about?
If you play the slide, it's kind of self-explanatory
All right, let's see.
because Kirk Cousins just signed with the Raiders, right? This man is the greatest thief of all time. Look how much money
What?
this man is making for one freaking playoff win. Now, granted, okay,
Oh, 5 years. Okay, 5 years.
5 years, and there's no guarantee he may get cut after a year or two, or actually, no, it's two, I think it's 2 years or 3 years within the contract. Why is this man making this much money for one playoff win? I don't get it.
Cash, your boy just answered the question about are the Eagles more dramatic than the Cowboys. He said, no, they're just more winners than Cowboys. I would agree with that.
I would agree with that too. Very, very well
At least
stated.
over the last 30 years.
Got him.
I would say that.
Yeah.
So let me can I admit something about Kirk Cousins? And I'm gonna cut the phone lines now. I don't want anybody calling because we're about to close the show. I thought Kirk Cousins was gonna be a big deal coming out of college. And I really for him, I didn't like the fact that he was drafted by Washington at the same year as RG3 was drafted by Washington. Because you just knew like that just wasn't going to be beneficial, it seemed, for either one. And it seemed like in RG3's rookie year that he was going to be a star, got hurt. We all know the story. But Kirk Cousins coming out of Michigan State, he was a hell of a quarterback at Michigan State. That's when I was still watching college football intently, and he was a pretty good quarterback coming out of Michigan State. I thought he was going to be something, but well, hell, he's making a lot of doggone money. I'm not even going to try to add all that up right now. He's made a nice piece of change over his career.
How about that?
A nice piece of change. He's going to make 172,000. See, I can't even fathom that kind of money. $172 million over 5 years. Not only that, he's going to be living in Vegas. Good weather. Dome Stadium. No bad weather. No rain and that football game. Nothing. Ardot said, Kirk Cousins strikes when the iron is hot. Don't hate the player, hate the game. It seems like the iron's always hot for Kirk Cousins. Like I don't get.
Except in the playoffs.
Now is he going to be the backup there? He's not getting paid $172 million to be a backup.
Who the hell knows?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You
Who
really
the hell knows?
You really never know. Congratulations to Rob Thompson, fastest to 350 franchise wins. Fastest in the Phillies history. ABS system challenge wrinkle. What's that about?
So I'll show the video over the course of the next couple of weeks. So the wrinkle in the ABS challenge system, right? So let's say pitch is called and a runner is stealing second base, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you want to challenge the call, but you throw the ball down to second, and then the player's out, right? Now, if you decide to challenge the pitch, and let's say it's 3-2, right? But the runner, or it's 2-2, or whatever the case may be, the runner is thrown out, but you challenge the ball strike call, that call will take precedent over reviewing the other safer outcome.
So we kind of ran into that. In a different way. Was it last week with the Phillies?
Mm-hmm.
Where I forgot what happened, but there was the play at first base, and then like a guy got caught up between home and third, and he got tagged out.
Right.
But then they replayed the play at first base, and he ended up being safe, and then they allowed the runner to go back to third or something like that.
Right.
And that would have been the third out.
Right.
Like the out at first was the third out, but they just kept it going, and they tagged the guy that was in between third and home, which would have been the fourth out. I think we may have talked about it on the show.
Briefly,
that would have been the fourth out. But then everything goes, and it's like a rule. It's more like a rule thing,
right? But specifically with ABS, if you decide to challenge the ABS call versus whatever other call is on the field, mm-hmm. and you lose that challenge, but the other call would have been in your favor, the ABS challenge overrides the other call, the other challenge, I should say.
Because that one was first anyway.
Right. So you have to kind of like pick your poison, but you got to do it on the spot. So it was just an interesting wrinkle, and we can kind of, I'm sure it's going to.
And it makes sense, right? It makes sense to me because if you the only place where they can kind of get that right, I feel like completely right, is basketball. And before they had a challenge system in basketball, the referees could say, let's say you shot a 3-pointer and your toe was close to the line, or maybe even on the line, but very close to maybe not being on the line. The referees could allow that to be a 3, and then go look at the video during the next stoppage or whatever, next time or whatever the case may be, and then they could award it a 3 or a 2, and they can change the score. But with baseball, it's different because now you kind of gotta do the streak thing. You got to run it all the way back to okay, well this happened first, so now this doesn't count. That didn't really happen. That didn't really happen. It's a you just got. I guess that's just one of. I guess that's a wrinkle with the ABS. Is a wrinkle with challenging and replays. We're about to go down a slippery slope, Miguel. We're about to go down a slippery slope with that. Losing connection again. Here we go. There we go. Am I back?
You are
Got me.
back. You are back.
Okay. Real quick, Dawn Staley, the Gino Auriemma Dawn Staley altercation at the end of the show, at the end of the semifinal game. I'm gonna just put it out there, like Gino went out like a sucker. Gino went out like a straight sucker. He couldn't handle. I mean, so one of the first things that he blamed it on was she didn't come out and shake hands at half court before the game started, which he says it's protocol. Okay, well, if it's protocol, then I guess she broke some type of rule and will have some type of punishment, right? If it's protocol. But we have seen video that she went over and shook hands with the whole staff of UConn. I have seen a photo of him waiting at half court for her to shake hands, and I guess she never came and did that. And that Gino Auriemma, Coach Auriemma, you were not mad about that the entire game. You were not. You were not mad about a handshake the entire game to the point that you blew up on the sideline after the game. You were not. You tried it. You were not mad about that. Then he said, yeah, the fouls weren't getting called. My player had her jersey ripped and nobody called anything. Then you find out the player ripped her own jersey, as she was frustrated. Gino, you went out like a sucker, man. You went out like a sucker. I'm gonna just put it to you like that. You went out like a sucker. I don't care if you don't like it. You went out like a sucker.
Well, it did after almost an entire week. He did, officially call Dawn Staley and officially apologize to her and her staff. So
yeah, well, I guess you need some buffer time, right?
yeah,
Need some buffer time.
I hope he gets fired.
You hope what?
I hope he gets fired.
Fined or fired?
Either one.
Ooh. I don't think they're gonna fire him. He brings way too much money to that university for them to fire him over that. Now, he had a moment. All of us have had or will have a moment in our lives. He had a moment. He just had his moment in front of a whole lot of the world. And, he had his moment in front of a whole lot of the world. Not the whole world doesn't usually see you go out like a sucker, but they saw him go out like a sucker. Anything else? I know we're short on time. We got to get going.
You want to do what we did a couple weeks ago? We're not gonna. I'm not gonna challenge you tonight. I'll give you a break, but we'll try again next week. These are the titles of certain videos.
Pick two of them. Because we were already an hour 20 minutes in.
Okay.
And then you can save others for next week.
All right. Okay, so let's go with
5, 6, 7, 8. You got 8 videos up there. Pick two of them.
All right, I'll pick one and you pick one. So I'll pick the first one.
Philly Reddick said the Eagles the last 3-4 years have been the best team in the division. Definitely been the best team. I mean, if you as an cumulative, yes. As a cumulative, yes. They finally won back-to-back division titles again last year.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Birds.
Go Birds.
Right. So am I just popping this? Which one am I? The video that you just popped up? That's what I'm putting in.
So the video is titled "What I Have Highlighted There."
All right, here we go.
Fly ball down the right side, and it'll twist off foul.
Oh. Everybody okay down there?
I'm gonna take that out before replay because I really don't want to see that again.
So there was no replay. It was actually silence for the next minute.
All right. We don't need to hear silence. I believe you. We don't need to hear a minute of silence. We're on air.
All right, what video you want me to pop
Lord,
in?
man. Tie the shorts up, man. Wear a belt, whatever the case may be. Good Lord.
Oh, you know what? I know what I'm going to play next.
My man's whole business was out there.
Well, so if you ever watch the video again,
Nah.
people were hold on. People were trying to figure out if that actually was a man or a woman.
You know what? I don't care.
Because they said she felt like they said it felt like a man, but rolled over like a woman. So, all right. So
pH balance for a man. No, strong enough for a man, but pH balance
for a woman.
Commercial.
All right. So
I'm sorry.
this video holds a special dear and near place in my heart, and you will see why. It'll bring back memories.
0-1 pitch. Hit in the air to right center field. It's going to hang up, and it is off the head of the center fielder. That's going to be a ground rule double.
Oh, double.
No, it's a home run. It's a home run for Tene Vijas. Oh, my. It hit the head of the center fielder and bounced so far, it went over the wall in right center field. And the umpire, I thought he was going to call it a ground rule double. He indicates home run. Wow. What a change of events. Let's take another look at this. Center fielder coming over. He was calling out the right fielder, had his hand up trying to find the ball in the sun. Oh, it went right off his forehead. Oh, my. Jake Shields is going to.
Yeah, that can. Hey, Jose Canseco, man, that was the first person I saw that happened to. But that was a whole heck of a lot closer to the wall with Jose Canseco. That bad boy had to bounce off his head and travel a bit to go over the wall on that one just now. I hope he's not mad at the right fielder because it looked like the right fielder kind of peeled off. But that's tough, man. That's tough. I'm gonna give him one of these. That's tough, bro.
Oh, you're not gonna give him.
And it happened in this day and age where it can live on forever on the internet. That's tough, man. Miguel, you got any last words before we get out of here?
Watch your lips.
I see one of the videos was called that. We'll have to get to that next week.
Well, watch your lips, and at the when you have a moment, if you're with the person that you love, give her a moist hug.
Here you go with these damn moist hugs. All right. We're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast with myself. And, of course, the brains and brawn of the situation, my man Miguel, who's down in
Baltimore, having big fun.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram and all that good stuff at Check Swing Podcast. And, of course, you can always hit our 24-hour text line. And to do that, you just have to text 484-606-6061. And actually, we had some text last week on the text line that I didn't really get a chance to get to. So I apologize for that. We had a great show going last week. But it was Bryson. It was Bryson that called the show a few weeks ago. He texted us last week. So shout out to Bryson, always showing us love. Hope you're able to hear your shout out here. Monroe said, "Thank you for bringing the memory back of Canseco." Miguel was able to string that memory along for us. But look, we're gonna get up out of here. Like I said, we appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast. We will talk to y'all next week, hopefully. I mean, right now it's very hopefully for the way my schedule is crazy. But hopefully next week we'll talk to y'all at the same time. But we're gonna talk to y'all again, sure. All right. Peace out, y'all. We love y'all for loving us, and we'll talk to y'all next time on the Check Swing Podcast.
Until we meet again.